Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining me in another video. So today I wanted to talk about something I've been seeing a lot more recently. I've seen a few articles discussing this topic, and I think it reflects a much bigger shift happen in the world of luxury handbags. I'll link the articles down below. There's one from Vogue, there's one from Purse Blog. They raise some really interesting points, and they raise some interesting points around this idea of the entry-level bag. Does it still exist, or has luxury simply decided that the aspirational customer is no longer something that they're courting, at least in the realm of handbags? Because when you look at prices today, it's very difficult, as the Purse Blog article points out, to find a leather handbag from many major luxury houses under $3,000. 5-6 years ago, different story, but today it's become the norm. And I thought we would talk about this and what these brands are doing instead. But before really delving into these articles, I think an entry-level bag, even this term, is very subjective. What quote-unquote entry means to somebody, to one person, will mean something different to another. Even just to push back on this idea, I don't necessarily think when consumers are buying handbags, they're climbing it like a ladder. Now, some do. For some people, like, they may start off with buying Coach, and then they might buy like Gucci or Louis Vuitton canvas, then Chanel, and they may stay at Louis Vuitton or stay at Chanel or Hermes. I think there are many consumers that do buy like that, and each bag gets more and more expensive than the other. But I don't know if everybody shops this way. I even think of myself. One season, I might want to buy like a super high-end, like top-tier bag, but then the next season I might want something that is maybe a great nylon backpack, and then maybe the next season I might go for like a unique minaudière. I think for everybody this is different, but I think for the sake of this article and looking at it from this perspective, they're looking at consumers that potentially could enter the luxury market. Think of that report from Bain where 50 million consumers exited the luxury market. That was from like 2022 to 2024. Purse Blog, they mentioned how another 20 million shoppers left in 2025 alone. So I think these articles are looking at it more from that perspective. If we are looking at the pricing of some of these bags, like leather handbags, harder to find leather handbags under $3,000 from a lot of these major luxury houses. If you do, it's typically in a material that isn't as premium or isn't as expensive to make. It could be a canvas, it could be a nylon, it could be a raffia, it could be a smaller bag, but full-size leather bags have moved further and further up in terms of pricing. There is this argument being made that many of these brands are increasingly focusing on their highest spending clients, not necessarily volume, not necessarily even on first-time buyers, but on their VICs. One of the articles point out how consumers spending more than 20,000 euros annually, they now account for almost half of the luxury spending. While these brands may be losing millions of customers, they can still grow by appealing to a more select few. The article brings in economics, and luxury doesn't always follow normal supply and demand. Sometimes actually higher prices increase desirability. Economists call this the Veblen effect. The higher the price, the more exclusive an object becomes. The harder it becomes to obtain, the stronger the status signal. Scarcity and pricing are also part of the marketing strategies. One thing that is very interesting is, I think this discussion around handbags, I would say, I hear the term investments, but I think what people are really meaning is like resale value. This wasn't really something people discussed heavily 10 years ago, like maybe in regards to specific Hermes bags, Chanel Classic Flap, things like that. But almost feel like what's actually happening is like an inverse, where consumers, if they like a bag, because of the availability of the resale market and how easy it is to buy things on the resale market, consumers are wondering whether they should just buy a Lady Dior pre-loved or if they should buy the new one. Of course, the new ones, they have like the little bow, you know, they're new iterations. But let's say you just want your favorite color in the Lady Dior. Chances are you could probably find that on the pre-loved market for a much better price. More consumers are looking at bags in that way. And the pre-loved market has never looked better. It's actually a really great time, I think, not with every single bag, of course, but it's very attractive. It's very much a buyer's market, not with everything again, but because ultimately a lot of bags, like other than the select few from a couple brands, 99% of bags are going to depreciate the moment you leave the boutique, whether it's Dior, Prada, Fendi, Celine, Gucci, even the very popular bags, like the ones that we're seeing that are hyped up right now, we'll see in time. But when we think about how fast fashion is, how many collections these brands brands offer. While the Chanel 25, it's a very sought after bag right now, in like 3-4 years is likely not going to have the same resale value. It's probably going to follow a similar path to the 22, the 19, the Gabrielle, bags that the brand promotes heavily, but then after that initial period loses its value on the resale market. And if you're a consumer and you're willing to wait, you don't necessarily feel like you need to have the bag immediately. Consumers know that they can check out the pre-loved market. The article makes this point about how resale, it's actually the new entry bag. Today's first luxury consumer may not necessarily be going to Gucci or Louis Vuitton for their first designer bag. It's authenticated resale. The article also mentions rental. I've personally never rented a handbag, but it'd be interesting to hear from you guys. Have you tried that? I will say for myself, I genuinely love buying pre-loved bags. I think it's a way to even just have a greater selection in terms of what's available, because you may not love the trends of the times, but I think buying pre-loved is becoming more and more popular as someone's first designer bag. But I think as, you know, more and more consumers are looking to enjoy bags, to enjoy the beauty of handbags, the joy of handbags, it's a way to not break the bank and find something a little bit more unique. The Vogue article asks an interesting question. If brands have pushed prices so high, how do these aspirational consumers come back without lowering prices? Because lowering prices would undermine the exclusivity, the perceived value of the brand. But they note how instead these brands are creating new categories, new bag families, instead of dropping prices. Although I will also mention how there have been instances like Saint Laurent and Prada, they have in the past reduce their prices. But the article is making this point about how these brands are introducing new materials, be it canvas, raffia, crochet, nylon, even the idea of mini versions, or think about on one side like the Prada and the Wish pouch, right? You know, that is not a very expensive bag to make relative to some of the more popular Prada bags like the Galleria. It's not as expensive. So the consumer can enter in the market. Prada still is able to maintain a high profit margin on that bag, but not lose its place in the market. And I think we're also seeing other brands do this in a different way. Like I think of how Chloe has a series of crochet bags. Gucci has offered these sort of little pochette shoulder styles that aren't as expensive as say the classic Gucci Jackie. So they're able to offer new silhouettes, new materials without discounting their core icons. And in fact, still maintains the icon status of certain materials like the nylon or certain designs like the Jackie. But the articles also note how contemporary brands are winning. Brands like Coach, Pauline, Demelier, they've benefited because consumers are increasingly asking, does the product justify the price? I would even say there are brands that kind of are almost in this middle tier that are even in between contemporary and luxury. I would say brands like Jacquemus, Totem, they'll offer bags that may not be as expensive as a Chanel or a Dior or Louis Vuitton, but still feels fashionable. These mid-tier brands have been able to appeal to where I think the luxury consumer was 5 years ago. This sort of premium market is becoming more attractive. I think of, where a millennial, maybe their first designer bag might have been a Gucci bag. Maybe for Gen Z, their first designer bag could be a Coach, but it could also be a Jacquemus. And the Vogue article notes how while luxury brands are introducing new bag families or introducing new silhouettes, new materials, contemporary is appealing to this client as well. The Vogue article also notes this distinction about how luxury brands on the one end are either introducing new bag families or are using not maybe as expensive materials or changing up the silhouettes. There's that side. Then there's also the contemporary market, like brands like Coach and Pauline. The Vogue article asks the question, as the race to create the next entry-level bag heats up on both ends of the market, how can brands win? And they note the specific price tier point, which is interesting. A number of players have recently injected real newness into the category at price points below $1,700, building a more compelling price value equation for aspirational customers. And when I was reading this, I think one brand that I think has found this kind of happy medium where they're able to appeal to their client that offers several bags under the $1,700 price tier while simultaneously having some of the highest end bags. They offer exotic bags without devaluing their brand, but still maintaining that higher price to quality ratio that is attractive to the consumer is the row. Some of their most popular styles, be it the 90s, the Half Moon, the Park Tote, the Barn Tote, the Astra, these are bags that are under the $1,700 price point. And while I wouldn't necessarily call them like it bags in the traditional sense, they're products that speak to the aesthetic that is attractive to their clients. These are bags that people continue to buy season after season. It's interesting when I look at the row, clients of the row, this client isn't necessarily climbing a ladder per se, or like buying these bags because they're entry level, but because they're great bags and really speak to this minimal style and aesthetic that the row does so well. But going back to this point, the Vogue article mentions something very important, how these new creative directors have created opportunities for entirely new product categories. They specifically mentioned Gucci, Chanel, Dior. I think we've already actually seen this at Gucci, bags under the $1,700 price tier. I would say I don't know necessarily if we're seeing that at Chanel and Dior. I think they're at a tier well above that. Maybe what is actually popular at Chanel, it's the bags. Dior, perhaps it's like the belt, other accessories, but I don't think those brands are necessarily going to be making bags under $1,700, but they do also offer other products like shoes, belts, other leather goods at this tier. The Vogue article also makes the point about what consumers are wanting. They interview the founder of the brand, Demillier, argues that consumers want quality, they want integrity, they want brands that have ethics, which I think, has been called into question, even with some of these really big luxury brands. But the article notes how consumers today are incredibly informed. If quality declines, people notice. If construction changes, people notice. If these products feel stripped down to increase price margins, people don't want to be taken for a ride, and they notice things like that. And the article makes this point about how bags, it's not only about status. Bags need to have cultural relevance. They need to have identity. Make the point about brands from Miu Miu to Jacquemus, their appeal on social media, and appeal to younger consumers, and how these brands also create an emotional attachment. It's not necessarily about exclusivity. Another point that the Vogue article makes is one bag isn't enough. Like, brands also seem to be moving away from relying on a single iconic bag. Instead, they're building families of successful products. They talk about, in the article, Demillier, they talk about brands like Staud, and how consumers seem more willing to buy into an entire design language rather than just chasing a viral product. One thing I will say when reading these articles and just being in this space, I think it is absolutely important that these brands do appeal to this next generation. Like, they are clearly losing many consumers, the millions of consumers leaving the market. But I also think there is also a growing dissatisfaction among existing consumers. Concerns around quality, craftsmanship, a lack of innovation. Like, how many archive reissues can a brand continue to rely on before consumers want genuinely new ideas? I think consumers also have more avenues than before, whether it be to buy pre-loved or to buy contemporary or independent, or even this like tier of more premium designer. It could be really rare vintage. The competition today isn't just other luxury houses. There's so many ways someone could spend $1,700. But I would love to know your thoughts. Do you think the entry-level luxury handbag still exists, or the resale market officially become the new gateway into luxury, or is it contemporary brands? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.